Producing a glass of dairy milk, that's cow or buffalo or goat milk, results in almost 3 times more greenhouse gas than any plant-based milk. And it consumes 9 times more land than any plant-based milk.
All right, welcome to part 2.
Of everything you ever wanted to know and more about plant-based milk.
Yes.
Milk, whatever you want to call it.
MLK,
Milk.
Like Martin Luther King.
You may have liked plant-based milk.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So
right.
We left you about the ins and outs of almond milk is where we were, stopped
So
the
we
last
have a couple
one.
more interesting ones that...
A lot more coming up, especially in the West, that are harder to find in the rest of the world. So we just wanted to focus on the ones that most people can find.
Mm-hmm.
So next one is a little more up and coming. It's cashew milk. So cashew milk, because it's more up and coming, and because cashews are fairly expensive, is a moderate priced milk, but it's less than almond milk. Interestingly enough, I don't know why I would think it'd be more expensive, but it is. So so that's a plus with cashew milk. Because it's a nut, it has some of the similar issues with almond milk, and that it needs more water, but not as much. In fact, significantly less actually compared to almond milk. Because it's grown in more tropical climates and wetter climates, it's not grown in arid climates like almond milk, so you don't have to give as much water to the land.
And also, the trees don't take a long time before they start giving.
Yeah, they're pretty short.
Short and quick. They
like me, short and not really quick, just short. Okay. Short and full of cashews, whatever you want to say. Actually, these days I am pretty full of cashews. Anyway, moving on. So nutrition and cashews. Cashews are one of the healthiest nuts, just like you. So they're fairly low carbohydrate. Also, even lower calorie. The cashew milk is actually lower calorie even than almond milk.
I didn't know that.
Only about 25 to 30 calories per 240 mLs, which is nothing almost. It has slightly more protein than almond milk, but other than that...
Fiber? How's fiber?
Not much.
Not much, right.
Again, because I think it's more than almond milk, but not enough to make much of a difference. It's really, if you're looking for a low-calorie, more environmentally friendly plant-based milk, I think cashew is the way to go. It is more of an acquired taste. I think you don't particularly like it.
I don't, because it's got a very nutty... And almost like dessert, as if I'm having
sweeter.
Dessert.
It is sweeter than almond milk, even though it's unsweetened. It's sweeter. So I think you may like it later on because you also didn't like almond milk at first.
Maybe.
I think it's more of an acquired taste.
Maybe.
So we'll keep trying it.
Yeah, can we go back? I catch on to what you're saying a little later because my brain is slow. Can we go back to low calorie stuff? So one of the things that I want to emphasize, and I know we've said this before, is when you ask us about plant-based, diet or what should we eat and so on, or generally nutrition in general, we never ask you to count calories.
Right.
So yes, these are low calorie versus high calorie and so on and so forth. But if you ask us, just eat plants and you should be fine. You don't have to worry about the calories.
General rule of thumb: if you're eating mostly plants, you're eating less calories.
Bingo.
So you don't need to count how many less.
Yep. Okay. Sorry.
So cashew milk is, I think, a good substitute for almond milk. It's very similar nutrition-wise, and I think it's very similar taste-wise. But it's better for the environment, and it's slightly cheaper. So cashew is a good option. Next, sorry.
I was going to say they also. I think cashews are great for desserts and those kind of things, right?
For baking. I did use it for baking the other day.
Yeah, not just okay.
Cashews in general.
Yeah, in ice cream, if you want to make a vegan ice cream.
I bet you might like it in cereal, because when you have cereal, just like soy, it overpowers the...
That's true.
But soy still wins in terms of nutritional profile, in my opinion.
Okay.
So the next one I want to talk about, which I'm still learning about, but has really recently I think in the last year or so, come up in India. It's one... I should say what it is. Millet's milk.
Yeah.
So millets refer to a family of gluten-free grains. So there's a positive right there. Like amaranth, sorghum or jawar, foxtail millet, finger millet, like ragi. One of the many benefits of living in India, there's so many millets that are available and super cheap. which is why millet milk is not very expensive. So there goes your expense. It's one of the lower priced milks. In terms of environment, I couldn't find much on it. I think because no one has done any studies on it yet. I would imagine because it's so ubiquitous in India and has been around for years.
Thousands.
I would imagine it's not bad for the environment. People have been using it not for milk, but for chapatis and use it instead of rice. And
a lot of the mills, did you know that a lot of the millets, not all, but a lot of them came from Africa?
Really? I did not know that.
Fairly recently. When I say fairly recently, I mean like 5,000 years ago.
Okay. In terms of Indian history, fairly recently. So I would imagine it's pretty environmentally friendly. It's gluten-free, like I mentioned. It has a lot of protein. All those ancient grains have a ton of protein, which you don't think about as a grain having protein. I guess I can compare it to quinoa milk, which is in the U.S. Very similar nutritional profile, high in vitamins, naturally high in protein, high in fiber. So it's probably, other than soy, the healthiest of all the milks that you can get. It's not as high in protein as soy, and it doesn't have all the essential amino acids, but otherwise it's really up there. I have not tried it myself, but it is on my list, and I'll report back to you guys. I've heard it is more acquired taste because, at least with quinoa milk, you can taste the quinoa, and that may or may not appeal to some people. I probably would like it because I love quinoa. So that's, again, anything that's strongly flavored is probably best left to baking or in cereal, oats, porridge, that sort of thing, because it'll get masked.
One thing I want to add is millets in general are very high in fiber. So in general, I don't know about specific millets that are being used for millet milk. They
very high in fiber, and the same insoluble fiber as
so that's a good thing again.
As oats. Favorites. Sorry, yes. So keep the eye out for millet milk.
Yeah, it'll be cheap soon.
It'll be cheaper, and it's super healthy, and it's gluten friendly too, which I think most of these are anyway. Actually, so speaking of gluten friendly. Rice milk.
The most gluten friendly.
Yeah, the most gluten friendly. And actually, I'm jumping into health benefits, but one benefit of rice milk, probably one of the most important things about rice milk, is that it's the most allergen friendly of all the milks. You don't, if you have a soy sensitivity or allergy or a nut allergy, you don't have to worry about it with rice milk. Rice is very easily digested, which makes me flow into the fact that rice milk is very high in simple carbohydrates and sugars. Again, not as much as cow's milk, believe it or not. It has less sugar than cow's milk. But when you compare it to the other plant-based milks, it has more carbs and more sugar. And one potential, probably very real issue with rice milk is you may or may not have heard that rice in general has a high concentration of inorganic arsenic, which is news to me over the last couple of years. So always make sure you wash your rice at home 3-4 times. And with rice milk, I'm not sure how often it's washed. I think general studies have shown that it's safe. But
since we add all kinds of random stuff, let's just make that little tip there. So when you're washing rice, you wash it till the water runs clear. So about 4 times is what I've noticed.
Right. So generally, we would not recommend rice milk for children or pregnant women or people with a lot of health issues. You can, I think everyone else, it's fine to have it. It's because, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. It's very inexpensive because rice is very inexpensive. And if you have a sweet tooth, it's the sweetest. So probably one of the more friendly to your palate and very light in flavor. It's not heavy when you drink it. Next is other nut milks.
In rice milk, that's very good for like Asian desserts, I've noticed.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Like the cream part of Asian desserts. Rice milks. Making me hungry.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next, I kind of grouped into one: macadamia milk, hazelnut milk, walnut milk, all the fancy nuts.
Expensive milks.
Like you, fancy nuts. So we've talked about almond and cashew. They, again, require more water than some of the other plant-based milks. However, like cashews, they're environmentally superior because they're pollinated by the wind instead of the bees. And they're also found in cooler, not as dry climates, so you don't need as much water. However, they are very expensive because they're newer and because these are the fancy nuts that not a lot of people use. They tend to be a little higher fat, but now it's fat, but it's plant-based fat, so it's good fat. It's
isn't it like vegan keto?
It's full of fat, but it's full of good fat. Just like we tell you, you can eat nuts and not worry about it. It has monounsaturated fat, which are the fats that boost your HDL, that make your brain work better and your joints work better and your heart work better. Mufa and pufa, yes. And also, I personally think these are delicious. I love hazelnut and macadamia milk, but we rarely get it, especially here. I don't even know if you can find it here.
Yeah, you've not got one.
Yeah.
I got it.
And then finally, last but not least, is coconut milk. Coconut milk, at least in India, is the least expensive. And I think most of Asia is the least expensive because it's so, very ubiquitous, especially Southeast Asia and South India. So that's a benefit of coconut milk. Coconut environmentally is not great because of the whole exploitation of coconut tree workers that are paid pittance to, get all these coconuts down and farm them. So if and when you buy coconut milk, try to get certified fair trade if you can, which I know is certainly not an easy task, but that's the problem with coconut milk. And then it is also high in fat, not as high as macadamia and hazelnut, but the difference is this is saturated fat.
That's right.
And you and I will start arguing about this. Coconut milk and oil,
I'm going to put on my gloves.
Saturated fat may not be as bad as animal source saturated fat, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah,
there are studies that show that these saturated fats contain a lot of medium chain triglycerides, or MCTs. Can I finish? Okay. that is beneficial for increasing HDL. Yes, there are studies that show the opposite. So what is true?
And even the studies that you were talking about, I remember reading about them. They are not very strong studies. They're not like actual randomized controlled trials.
Okay. But then
they're more observational, and therefore the strength of the data is not as much.
So let's take the example of Southeast Asians. And
oh my God.
Is there a high incidence of cardiovascular disease and death?
Because of that, there may be some confounding factors in so many things, right? So
Anyway, this is for another time. We will argue more about this after we finish the podcast. So coconut milk is one of my favorites flavor-wise also.
Naturally also because she's South Indian, that's why.
Yes. Naturally sweet. You don't have to add sugar. So if you're doing vegan keto, which is really the only keto we would recommend, but again, another topic for another time. Coconut milk is great for adding to your coffee or tea or whatever, because you feel like you're having something sweet, but it's the lowest carbohydrate of all of the milk, and the lowest carbohydrate and the lowest sugar of all the other milks.
Kind of like rice, this is also very good for Asian desserts, I feel.
And savory dishes. Think about Thai curries and
I mean, that is natively added.
Yes. And so finally, just want to leave you guys with a couple fun facts, as our older son would say. There was a study. Oh, look at me.
Aha!
In 2000,
finally, you come to the dark side.
I know. In 2018, by University of Oxford, so a fairly renowned university, it showed that producing a glass of dairy milk, that's cow or buffalo or goat milk, results in almost 3 times more greenhouse gas than any plant-based milk, and it consumes 9 times more land than any plant-based milk.
What do you mean greenhouse gases?
Greenhouse gases are, so basically the animal, when they are just there, they are farting, right?
Not just farting, but breathing.
Breathing, and then they're emitting all the waste products of respiration, or farting, if you will.
Go ahead.
And also the bacteria in the soil, if there's a large amount of land, are also emitting waste products, right? So it's carbon dioxide, it's methane, it's all these bad things that our atmosphere does not like.
Those gases.
Yes, those particular gases. So like we said multiple times, yes, almond milk may not be, and coconut milk may not be particularly environmentally friendly of all of these, but you're still the right choice. Just in summary, I guess,
we talked about
I just said again how, in general, plant-based milk is the right choice. We're happy you're choosing to switch to plant-based milk. A lot of it is trial and error and what flavors you like and what works in your diet. You need to keep in mind cost, environmental impact, nutritional impact, and then, of course, flavor and uses in your food. So our general opinion is, my general opinion is soy and oat milk are the 2 best. What is your general?
I don't have a favorite, honestly. For different things, I use different things. So, for example, if I'm cooking something Asian, I'll use coconut milk. If I'm adding it to my cereal, like you said earlier, I use soy milk. If I'm adding it to my coffee, which I think I want some right now, I'll be adding almond milk. And, the thing is, yes, almond milk is environmentally bad as compared to the rest of the
relatively, it's still...
Exactly. In addition, I was going to say, I use no more than 2 tablespoons of it, if that. So therefore, my justification so far has been that, it's very little that I use. However, if you start bringing more oat milk into the house, I'd be very happy to use that towards my coffee consumption.
Yeah, we both like oat.
Tea, I don't know. Yep.
We'll see.
Okay.
So let me leave you then with this quote that I think is very poignant. Drink what you want. If you're going with plant milk instead of animal milk, you've already addressed most of the environmental problems that your animal milk habit was causing.
That's right.
So either way, even if you replace 1 glass of milk per week with almond milk or whatever, you're making a huge difference.
Huge difference too. And, I think we've mentioned this earlier, but I just want to mention, in the number 1 issue is inflammation.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we can talk about in fact, we should talk about the issues with dairy.
But I don't want to take time now because I think we'll go way overboard. But I think, there are several issues with it.
Yeah, we always come up with more things to talk about in each podcast.
At the end, especially.
So now we're going to go take our plant milk of choice and infuse our coffee with it.
Bingo.
All right. Good. See you next time. Have a nutty day.
Oh my God, again. Bye.
We really hope you enjoyed our conversation. Can you think about one thing or an idea that you can start to introduce into your own life that will help make your life healthier and less stressful?
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you can take a few seconds to share the podcast with your friends and family. Thank you so much for listening.
And always remember, your health is literally in your own hands. Making lifestyle changes is not an easy task, but we promise you will be aptly rewarded with a long, healthy, and disease-free life.